Hey guys, it's Mr. Marone. Welcome back to our final lecture of lesson of the parallel and perpendicular lines unit. Today we're going to talk about proving lines parallel. So up until now you've used algebra to solve for missing angles given that you had corresponding angles for alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior. You had these relationships and we were able to solve because of that. We're now going to reverse that. So it's really the converse of everything that we've talked about. Now we're going to say that if we have congruent angles, then we can state lines are parallel. So it's a bit of a role reversal, but it'll be a similar process. So we'll look at an example of doing a two-column proof as well as an algebraic version of this. So with our converses, it basically reverses the process. So before we said that if two lines were parallel, we had corresponding angles are congruent. Now we're going to flip-flop that. Okay, given the picture that you guys have in the top of your notes, then you would be able to follow along here. This is on page 13 of your packet. So we can say here that if angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, then line L is parallel to line M. Okay. And same thing, you could have done that with angles 2 and 6, angles 3 and 7, or angles 4 and 8. Okay, so it's the flip of what we had before. For the alternate interior angles, we could use either 4 and 6 or 3 and 5. And we can say that if angle 4 is congruent to angle 6, then line L is parallel to line M. Okay? Now, the same thing holds for our alternate exterior angles. We can say that if angle 1 is congruent to angle 7, then line L is parallel to line M. And then the consecutive interior or same side interior, just a reminder, it's SSI, we can say that as long as they're supplementary, then we've got parallel lines. So in order for us to say that, we could say that angle 3 plus angle 6 equals 180. If that's true, then line L is parallel to line M. So we can use these to determine which ones are parallel, which ones are perpendicular, any of those. So if we look here, you're given a bunch of stuff here, and it asks you to identify the parallel lines you're referencing, as well as the converse statement. In other words, what we can say about them because of the given information. So for instance, for part A, we're given that angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Okay? Those are corresponding angles, and the two parallel lines that are being talked about are lines C and D. And those are corresponding angles, so we can say that those are letting the lines be parallel because of that, corresponding angles. Okay? If we were to look at 5 and 10, I'm going to just put a box around those, 5 and 10, those are discussing the lines A and B, and it makes those parallel because those are alternate interior angles. Okay. I'm going to pause for 1 second and let you try these so you can hit pause on the video, and then when you come back, all of this will be filled in. Alright, so the chart is now all filled in for you. Just a couple things to note. Look at letters F, I, and K. I wrote none in for those parallel lines because in letter F, 11 and 16 are vertical angles, so they're not helping us prove any lines parallel. They are congruent, but we don't know anything new in regards to parallel lines. Same thing with letter I and with letter K, so just be aware of that as you go through this. Letter I is talking about a linear pair. Once again, it's not telling us anything about parallel lines or proving them parallel. And 6 and 11, because they're in different groups without a transversal, we can't really say much about them at all. So just keep that in mind. Check your answers. You can pause and write those down, verify it, make sure that yours follows mine. Now I want to look at proving lines parallel with algebra. So if we look at this picture, so in this picture, they gave us information on what appears here and here to be alternate interior angles. So if we can find a value for x that makes this collection 10x minus 23, this quantity, equal to 137, then we've got parallel lines. But only on that one value of x does this work. So what we're going to do is say that 10x minus 23 equals 137. I am going to add 23 to both sides. And that's going to give me 10x equals 160. And when I divide by 10, you end up with x equals 16. Okay, so when x equals 16, lines A and B are parallel. So what we did was, using the converse of alternate interior angles, we were able to show that when x equals 16, that A is parallel to B. So you guys have some practice in your packet here that you can do on your own. I did the table on the bottom of page 13. I also did the practice algebra problem number 1 on page 15. Now you are certainly welcome to try the problems on page 14 and 15 just to see if you can get comfortable using these converses. Okay, we'll talk more about this in class, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or come see me in the morning. Have a great day, everybody.